These undefeated fighters, they need to go into hibernation. They need to hide because they are getting taken out left and right in 2025. We've already seen 10 fighters lose their O.
That's crazy.
Like every single one who was fought in 2025 has lost their O. So they need to hide.
Send a prayer up for Peyton Talbot right now.
They gotta go. They gotta go real quick.
Yeah.
So today we're talking about the 8 ranked undefeated fighters, and we're gonna be going from most likely to lose their O next to least likely. There shouldn't be too much controversy, but
this should be fun. I'm excited. Also, we did this video I think like months and months ago, but it's changed so much.
Yeah, Peyton Talbot's never losing it. He's going undefeated in his career.
We need to erase some videos. We got to delete some videos, man. All right, shall we start off? So we'll start off with the most likely to lose their O's.
Yes.
And then move all the way up to the least likely.
Yeah.
Who's going to keep it the longest?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll start off with my most likely to lose it. I got Slick Mick Parkin.
Yep, I got Mick Parkin last. I don't think he beats Tybura.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's already scheduled in at UFC London, which I don't think he wins.
Yeah, that's a tough fight. Like your first fight inside of the rankings against Tybura is tough.
For sure. And Tybura is off a big win against Janad Deniz, who's a good striker, a very high-level kickboxer, and Tybura used a game plan to beat him.
Yeah, fraud checked that guy.
Exactly.
Fraud check Mick Parkin.
And Tybura is he actually has good ground and pound.
Oh, nasty.
Solid elbows.
And we just haven't really seen anything out of Mick Parkin. He's somehow got ranked without showing us any flashes of anything.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm just worried at how much he gets hit, you know? His name is Slick Mick, but he actually gets hit quite a bit. Mm-hmm. He obviously has power in his hands, but you know, realistically, you're a heavyweight. Pretty much everyone has that. Yeah,
and I think it'll be a good test to see how he competes on the ground because obviously Tybura is going to be trying to take him down, you know, and just control the fight on the ground. So we're going to really getting to see his takedown defense and his bottom game.
Yeah.
And you know, we'll see what happens there. Mick Parkin has the potential to win the stand-up exchanges, but I think he's gonna really struggle if this fight gets taken down.
I think he will. Like, he could easily land a first-round KO. Like, he definitely has a path to victory here. You know, just like Tom Aspinall did against Tybura, just a 1-2 straight down the pipe and it puts him down. It's very possible. But he's not Tom Aspinall. He's not as fast. He's not quite as rangy. He's a little bit just short and tubby. I just don't like his chances quite as much as an Aspinall. And obviously Aspinall's a generational talent, so it's not like it's hard to compare them.
And the only reason they're getting compared is because he's from England. If Mick Parkin was from any other place in the world, there'd be zero comparison there.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and they train together. Yeah. So yeah, should be interesting. I'm actually very much looking forward to that fight.
Can I say my next guy?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Lerone Murphy is my next guy up.
I got Lerone Murphy as well.
You got a string from your brand new hoodie.
Wow.
Hang it from you.
That's the annoying thing about the new hoodies is like, I don't want to wash them right away because they'll shrink a little bit, you know? But then they have all that inside stuff.
You got the fluff.
Yeah, the fluff.
But yeah, Lerone, I was not sold in that Danny Ige fight.
No.
And I think featherweight is a really good division. And I think that if that fight versus Josh Emmett is supposed to be happening April 5th, headline that fight night, I think I might take Josh Emmett in that fight.
I think I will. You know, he's already taken out one prospect, Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell lost to Ilia Topuria, but the real nail in the coffin was the Josh Emmett overhand.
I hope it doesn't do the same things to Lerone, though.
Well, yeah. No, well, okay, yeah. Not those things. Not those things. But I wouldn't be mad if Josh Emmett lands a massive overhand on Lerone Murphy.
Oh, yeah. I think Lerone's good, but he's also only had 13 fights, so is he 13? 14-0, so it's like...
Yeah, he doesn't have like the most experience, but he's definitely like a good fighter, you know, gives me very much Leon Edwards vibes, but Josh Emmett goes out there and just throws caution to the wind, which I think is going to annoy Lerone Murphy. You know, Dan Ige is a good boxer, but Dan Ige also backs up a bit and he's willing to lose rounds. Josh Emmett absolutely brawls. Yeah. So I think it's going to be a very good fight if that's actually the matchup that does happen. And, you know, I think I will pick Josh Emmett as long as Josh Emmett, you know, there's no injuries or anything.
Yeah, and it's tough because he just hasn't fought.
That's
never fights.
It's 15 months, I think.
Yeah. But maybe killing Bryce Mitchell did some damage to him. He's seeing what Bryce Mitchell's doing nowadays. He's like, I created a monster.
Yeah,
I created a monster.
Where's that from? Are you trying to reference something?
I think so. I don't know what I'm referencing. Someone let me know.
Frankenstein or something.
Yeah, but neither of us are really too sold on the Roman Murphy. Neither are we on this next guy. I'm assuming you're going to have the same next guy.
Probably not.
Miles Morales?
No.
Ooh. All right. Well, my next guy is Michael Morales. I just think that welterweight is so stacked that if this guy can go even his next 3 fights and win all 3, I'm going to be shocked. You know, he has that fight versus Gilbert Burns next, which I think realistically has the potential to beat Gilbert Burns. But then once he's there, he's in like the 8th or 9th spot. And the people ahead of him are all fighters that I think are better than him outside of a guy like Sean Brady. I think that they could be on even playing field. But even a guy like Ian Gary, I think destroys Michael Morales.
Interesting. That's fair. He's tough. He's a tough one to nail down exactly what his skill level's at because, you know, you KO Neil Magny in a round. It's like, well, all the boys are doing that.
Yeah,
now.
That's like...
it's a rite of passage for the welterweight rankings now. So should be interesting. I'm excited for that Gilbert Burns fight. There's a lot of good fights that are matched up right now for these the
guys on this list.
The undefeated fighters.
Real good test. Like Gilbert Burns is a great test.
Oh, for sure.
You know, he is older now, but like... I mean, 2 guys that are in the top 5, Sean Brady and JDM, they went through Gilbert Burns. So
yeah, well, it's kind of like
that next stepping stone. You face your Jeff Neal, and then you go to either a Wonder Boy or a Gilbert Burns.
Yeah, it's kind of like Jared Cannonier in the middleweight division. He was
separates the top and the bottom.
Yeah, he was so high up for like top 5 rank for so long, like Gilbert Burns, and then you take 3 losses, and you're like, oh, see ya, getting fed to RoboCop now, and yeah, similar kind of thing. My next fighter is actually Movsar Evloev. Tough, like very tough one. Because he is obviously so skilled and he's obviously one of the best fighters in that featherweight division. But his next matchups are guaranteed to be Lopez. It's probably Lopez. I don't even know though, because like
I could see him fighting down his next fight, but then after that, he's not getting these lower down fights. He's got to fight someone higher up, which is either Lopez, Volk, or Topuria.
Yeah, and I think Volk definitely wins. Lopez has a good shot at winning. I think that's probably a 50-50 fight. I'd probably pick Lopez just because I'm biased, but realistically, Movsar could very easily hold him down for 3 or 5 rounds again. But then if he does fight someone like Topuria, then I'm very much picking Topuria to win that fight. I think Movsar's a bit overrated right now just because he's everyone's saying he's the guy that is the worst stylistic matchup for Ilya and he's the one to beat him. And when you have an undefeated champion who's dominant, people always say that about someone coming up in the rankings. And it's just like, you know, people just hate to see other people winning, you know? Yeah. So they're always going to kind of bump up the next guy and be like, oh, this guy can beat him. And, you know, he hasn't even faced a tough test yet. Talking about Topuria, you know, he hasn't even faced a good grappler yet. It's like, dude, he just KO'd 2 of the greatest featherweights of all time. All right.
One of them was Volk.
Who's a good wrestler.
Yeah. So my next guy's Movsar. Yeah. I'm going to come in with a few things. But I think that with Movsar is like top of featherweight is elite, you know? And at the same time, Movsar Evloev continues to not show us more. You know, he shows us his grappling and this wrestling, but anyone who says that they were overly impressed by Movsar Evloev is lying to themselves, trying to hype him up in their head. Nothing he did in that fight hyped him up to me. You know, he beat a bantamweight Aljamain Sterling barely, and I would say, in my personal opinion, Aljamain Sterling won that fight. So he barely got away with this win over Aljo, and then is moving on to a fight against someone like a Diego Lopez or a Volk or a Ilia Topuria, who are all just some of the most well-rounded fighters in the UFC, who all have grappling, but they also have much better striking. And I think that Movsar's striking is really underrated.
Yeah, that's good.
It's good enough, but he just doesn't use it, and he just continues to not show us more. I just want to see more out of Movsar.
Well, and people forget that you picked Movsar to win, so it's not like you're biased against him.
Yeah,
I
had Movsar to beat Sterling.
Yeah, and I had Sterling. Yeah. So it's like, yeah. And we both thought Sterling won. So very close fight. But yeah, if you're going life and death with Aljamain Sterling, who can't finish anyone, then might be tough.
Movsar can't finish anyone either.
That's the thing, you know?
Bilal's champion.
It's true.
Bilal.
It's true.
Bilal Muhammad. Shut up.
It's very true. But Bilal is
different.
He's built different, man. He's really built different.
Yeah. Where's that plot armor on Movsar Evloev?
Doesn't have it.
I ain't seen it yet.
Okay, well, my next fighter is Michael Morales. You already talked about
There's
him.
like a bottom and an upper half of this list, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, he's good. He's a great fighter. I think he beats Gilbert Burns. I'm excited. And we already talked about it. But up in that rankings, I think he might win one more, or maybe he even fights down, because that top of the division is going to be so. Hopefully, it's tied up because they're actually having matchups. So maybe he has to fight down once or twice, and I'm sure they want to push Carlos Prates over him. So then it's like maybe he gets forgotten about a little bit. So I just think that maybe he doesn't have like a super fight heavy future, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Even though he's been pretty active, he's not like Carlos Prates levels of activity, but I mean, he's already booked early in the year, and he just fought Neil Magny like
2-ish months ago.
No, it was more than that. It was more than that, but because it was before Prates.
Oh yeah,
it was Prates that fought him. And Morales was before that.
5 months.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 months ago. So I think he's going to do good at welterweight. I think he's going to be like a staple of that top 7 for quite a while because he's so young. But I'm just like, I think he's going to lose it pretty quickly.
All right, the next guy, 4th ranked guy. People might come and try to kill me. Please, just let's hear me out before you head down to the comments. All right, Ilia Topuria is the next guy to lose his O.
No.
Okay, let me tell you this. Ilia Topuria is the best fighter on this list by far. Mm-hmm. All right, but if this guy's next fight is actually against Islam, is actually against Islam Makhachev, there's a 50-50 shot that he loses, 50-50 chance he loses that fight.
Yeah.
Him and the next guy up, they're both 50-50 chances of losing their next fight. But I think I'm slightly one of the guys I'm taking in his fight, and then in Ilia versus Islam, I'm taking Islam. So I think Islam will beat Ilia. But like I'm like on the fence, hanging out there. But It's just the fact that he's the most talented fighter on this list, and if he wasn't fighting in Islam Makhachev, if he wasn't moving up to lightweight and staying in featherweight, he'd be 1 on this list. Mm-hmm. But the fact that he's moving up, and we don't know what that could look like for him, there's the unpredictability. He goes at 4.
It's fair. At my number 4 spot, I got Bo Nickel.
Ooh.
Because Bo Nickel is ranked now, and it seems like his plan was to stay unranked for a while, which is fair.
That's like Faris Yam. He's won like 3 or 4 fights in a row now, and they're like, oh, it's time for you to fight in the rank. He's like, no, give me one more unranked fight. I got some things I got to work out first.
Yeah, which I think is smart. You know, you don't want to get pushed too fast, especially when the UFC kind of builds you up into this big prospect. They haven't even done that to Faris Yam. Yeah, but they're doing it to Bo Nickel. So I think Bo Nickel is, you can hate on him, but he was smart to plan out maybe 2 fights outside of the rankings. But now he's ranked. And then if he fights down, people are going to be like, oh, he's taking easy fights. The UFC's giving him favorable matchups. And even if he takes lower down ranked fights, I think they're still going to eventually move him up because people will lose and he'll keep winning, even if it's against unranked people. So he'll get up to 11, kind of like Shamil Gaziev has done. He hasn't fought anyone ranked, and Shamil Gaziev is ranked 11th. It's going to be that's going to be Bo Nickel. So I think, if Bo Nickel does fight someone ranked, which I hope he does. Michelle Pereira. Okay, well, no, not Michelle Pereira. Anyone other than that.
Why?
Because he'd win that fight.
Yeah, that's what we want.
No, well, maybe he wins one more.
I think that his next fight probably unranked still. And then we go for a Michelle Pereira. I'm
gonna look at the UFC middleweight rankings because I just want to see who he beats on there. Because around him, there's Roman Kopylov.
I can see him winning that fight. Yeah,
because strong wrestler. Michelle Pereira, I think he wins that fight. Yeah, you could see a Paulo Costa matchup.
Yeah, that's the matchup I'm seeing. People are saying, oh, pink tip.
Yeah, Paulo Costa. But,
even a guy like Roman Dolidze beat a guy like Kevin Holland,
I think Dolidze beats him.
Yeah.
I think Paulo Costa.
But we also have to think about the fact that Bo Nickel had 7 mixed martial arts or MMA fights.
Yeah.
Not 7 UFC fights, 7 mixed martial arts fights. Mm-hmm. This guy's raw as it gets. Mm-hmm. So we got to give him time. And I don't think people should hate on him. It's not like he made the choice to go into the rankings.
Yeah.
The UFC put him in the rankings. It's not his fault. So if he's going to accept a fight outside of the rankings, let him do it. You know, he's looking out for his own career, and that's what you got to do.
But there's also a good chance he could lose his next fight. So that's why he's not higher up for me.
Yeah. All right, my next guy, number 3, my boy Shavkat Rakhmonov. I think coming into this Bilal fight, it's a fight that's going to be really close. I think that it could go either way. It's going to be a competitive fight. Both guys kind of both great grapplers, but and then have different advantages in that fight. It's a 50-50, I think in a lot of people's minds now. But I'm rooting for Shavkat here. So this is where it's like, oh, Shavkat goes and beats Bilal, and then it's like he could go on a decent run, but it's also welterweight so stacked.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
Yeah.
When you're in welterweight and everyone is so good and everyone is coming for that top spot. There's like 8 or 9 actual legit contenders inside of welterweight, which is silly. It's silly.
I got Shavkat at 3 as well because I think he might lose his next fight, but he could also win. So it's like it's another one where I think it's Bo Nickel. He could either win or lose. Obviously, every fighter could either win or lose their next fight. I'm not speaking anything.
Not number one.
Revolutionary. Yeah.
Bo Bickle.
Yeah, Bo Bickle number 1. Really?
Career undefeated.
But Shavkat,
John Jones
I'm just not sold on Shavkat quite yet in a title fight against Bilal, against a very strong wrestler. I'd love to be proven wrong because he'd probably be a better champion than Bilal if he can stay healthy and uninjured, which is his kryptonite. But yeah, I just think it's likely that he could lose that fight. But I'm saying that for everyone. So I think he's likely to lose that fight, but less likely than everyone else I've talked about.
Yeah, I think with Shav is Shavkat is he wins this next fight. I kind of like him against whoever wins the London main event. Like I like him against Leon. I think that his stylistically is a nightmare matchup for Leon Edwards, and then him and JDM is another close fight. Two guys who are good on the feet, both good grapplers. So
it's gonna be a banger.
Oh. We've been waiting for that fight for so long.
Yeah.
Come on. If Shavkat, what fight? Oh, London technically happens first. Maybe I'll be rooting for JDM over Leon just so we have potential for the JDM Shavkat fight.
For sure.
Oh, that's what dreams are made of.
Yeah.
We've literally been talking about this fight for so long on this channel. All right, that moves up to my number 2, Bo Nickel. I just think that he's right now the UFC's golden boy. He's the guy that they want to be this. I remember you talked about in the 4-pillar video, but he's the face of American UFC in the future. So they're going to be doing what they can to give him the most favorable matchups. Hey, they gave Shara Bullet a middle welterweight striker. Why not just give this guy? Let's send Jeff Neal or Neil Magny up to
Neil Magny.
Neil Magny up to middleweight.
There we go. That's the matchup for Bo Nickel. We found him.
But I'm actually pretty sold on Bo Nickel. I think Bo Nickel's stock has been raised significantly over the last 3 or 4 weeks, with all these undefeated fighters facing these tests that are not as good as a guy like Paul Craig.
Yeah, for sure.
Paul Craig is a better win than all these guys who are losing their O's. I mean, outside of a guy like Umar, but we're talking about these prospects,
Yeah.
Paul Craig's legit, and we saw Bo Nickel have really no issue with Paul Craig.
Yeah.
He did it pretty handily. And although it was boring, he did the job, something that no one else is doing right now. So I got confidence in him.
Rinya Nakamura.
Oh, jeez, man. I just think that Bo Nickel I think he probably wins the next fight. And everyone behind him could lose their next fight.
I got Ilia Topuria at my number 2 spot. Because like you said, if he gets that Islam Makhachev matchup, it's a rough day for the fighting world.
By the time summer hits and we have the last guy fight, there's a chance we could have no zeros left in the UFC.
Yeah. No, not in the UFC, but like in the rankings.
Taliesin Teixeira.
Is he undefeated?
He's 8-0.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he'll be ranked for sure by then. It's heavyweight, man. But Ilia Topuria, I'm not 100% convinced he's getting that Islam Makhachev matchup just because Islam's like saying now, he needs to prove himself at lightweight. So I don't freaking know anymore.
Just the stupidest stuff.
I just don't know anymore. I go back and forth so many times on whether he's going to fight at featherweight or lightweight. But I feel like if he was going to fight at featherweight, they would have announced him for Miami already. They would have announced Volk versus Topuria for Miami. So that leads me to believe it's not going to be Volk, which then it has to be a lightweight fight.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
And there's no way they let Dustin's last fight is going to be in Louisiana at the 316 pay-per-view.
Or fight week on the John Jones card.
No, but he said his last fight is going to be in Louisiana.
Oh, so
his hometown. And I could see him doing a pay-per-view in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Like, why not? Or a big fight night.
I just think with Topuria, it's like we just need to know what's going on.
I know, dude.
He's like a woman. You never know what's going on.
It's actually so annoying.
Hurting my head.
Yeah, but if he fights anyone other than Islam, I'm taking him without a doubt. But it's just if that Islam matchup happens, could definitely lose his O.
And number one,
Hamzat.
Hamzat for both of us. He's a killer.
Yeah.
I think that, Dricus gets better and better every fight, but I don't think he's on Hamzat's level. A healthy Hamzat is maybe the best fighter in the UFC.
Well, the thing is, if Hamzat, you have so many external factors for other fighters of like sickness and injury and whatever else it may be, whether the train camp doesn't go well. But if any of those things happen to Hamzat, he just pulls out. Yeah. So he doesn't lose his O anyways. So it's a win-win situation. He either fights at perfect health or he doesn't fight at all.
What is the over-under on career vacated titles for Hamzat? Like 2.5? Like, is he vacating that belt 3 times in his career? That's not crazy. That's not a crazy line.
I could see it for sure.
Like, wins the belt, goes to have his next fight. I'm dead.
I've decided on when eventually that Dricus Hamzat fight does happen, I'll be picking Dricus.
No, you're not.
Just for that Hail Mary. Like, I don't care, bro. Just in case that hits. Just in case that hits, I will be able to spend the rest of my life saying, I told you Dricus would be Hamzat. Because the odds are going to be insane. The odds are going to be...
I don't know if they'll be that crazy.
They'll be insane, dude.
I don't think they will.
They'll be so crazy.
I don't think so anymore. Dricus
is a GOAT, man. Dude.
Dricus beats Hamzat. Is he better than Anderson Silva all time? It's not.
Oh, man. I don't care. I'm picking Dricus. I don't care.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for us today. Make sure you guys go down to the comments. Let us know who's losing their O first, who's losing it last, who's holding on to that thing for the long haul. While you're down there, make sure you guys are liking and subscribing. We appreciate all the love and support. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
See ya.